Well, hey, let's get started. Welcome to the first episode of 2025 of the Open Source Entrepreneur. Jimmy and I are so excited to be back. It's been a little bit of a break for Christmas. We hung out with our families. Hopefully, you guys recharge and relax as well. But we are super excited. We've got some great guests lined up coming up for the year, and we just couldn't be more thrilled. We've had some great reception so far to how things have been going with the podcast. We're looking forward to interviewing a bunch of weird entrepreneurs coming up this year, and really just having an amazing season, and really looking forward to it. Jimmy, how did you feel like 2024 wrapped up for you?
I thought it went really well. I know just personal goals that I hit for the most part were complete. Business wise, had better growth than I did the year before. So looking forward to this year to see what we have.
So every entrepreneur's dream, right? Like growth, you paid yourself. All these things are amazing. So congratulations on a good year. You opened up. How many new places did you open up? A new one or two new locations this year?
Two new
Two
locations. So
new
I opened up
locations.
my Riverdale and um no, so just one. So I did Riverdale 2 years ago, a year ago, and then St. George was last year.
And then we alluded to it a couple episodes ago, but you as a business, you had a really cool goal that a lot of entrepreneurs dream of. You finally got into the seven-figure club, which is really exciting.
It was nice. I have to let people know that doesn't mean I'm making the seven figure club. I wish I was making the second seven figure club, but yeah, it's nice to see those that growth in the business.
Yeah, but as a business, yes, your gross revenue was over a million, which is really really exciting. Congratulations, Jimmy.
I
It's
thank
got to
you.
be really awesome to see it grow from nothing, right? Like this was an ideation thing. You said I'm going to go out on my own, and to grow it to north of seven figures is really really admirable. So like very very excited for you. And really we're going to tap into that business acumen tonight. As I was talking to Jimmy, we said, okay, how do we launch the year? We have a variety of guests, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to roll into something a little different. Kind of look at some things that we're seeing right now in 2025, and maybe even a couple of things that are carryovers from 2024. And what I lovingly want to call this episode is take it or leave it, right? Do we want to take it with us and run with it? Or do we want to leave it and like forget all about it, right? So we'll talk about some things that are actually pretty timely. And Jimmy, I'm really excited to get your take on. Is that something that yes, I want to take and I want to run with, or like I just want to leave that in the past and not worry about it, right? And so really excited to get your take. We're going to be all over the board, but I've got like five things that are kind of hot button topics, and I want to get your opinion on them.
So,
So like, is
but
it cool?
we should let people know that you and I didn't really discuss a whole lot in this take it or leave it part. So
No,
this is raw right
this
here.
is raw for Jimmy. Like he has no idea. I did a bit of research, but like I'm genuinely intrigued to find out from a business owner's perspective where you sit on these, Jimmy. One of the most relevant ones that I actually want to talk about because we're clearly using Instagram as a way to share our message, but we also post on all the major platforms. One of which is TikTok. Now, TikTok, Jimmy, I don't know if you've heard, but they are in massive. They're in trouble here in the states. They are looking at getting banned. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is when they appear in front of the Supreme Court to argue their case. And so, my question to you is: do you take it or leave it? Is TikTok getting banned?
Leaving it, I don't think it's going to get banned.
Okay, why?
And I don't think it'll get banned because too many people make money off of TikTok. You know, it's for the little guy who's working 70 hours a week has a chance to become a multimillionaire to multi-million billion dollar businesses that use TikTok to grow revenue. And I
Yeah.
think what might happen is worst case scenario, there's a pause on it, but overall, it I don't see it getting banned because too many people livelihood is off of it.
Yeah, so I actually completely agree. I did a little bit of research. So if you don't know why TikTok is being banned, right? Long story short, the parent company of TikTok is called ByteDance, and there has been accusations that they are selling personal information to foreign entities, right? And so it's the U.S. government says we got to get rid of it. I really hate to break it to him, Jimmy, but like I'm pretty sure that my stuff's probably already been leaked somewhere, right? Like somebody already has my information, somebody overseas already has it. from sources that are way less reputable than TikTok.
I mean, not to
But I
get too
also have,
political, but just up the road, we have this big data center that collects basically everything that there is.
yeah, so Jimmy and I live in Eagle Mountain, Utah, and just up the road there's a Facebook data center, and they definitely have a lot of information about us. But you mentioned that it's a lot of people's livelihoods. So I looked and I just said, hey, what's kind of like how much money, how much revenue would across the globe people be losing? Well, the states be losing from having TikTok get shut down. And this is what I came up with. It says TikTok says the ban would cost U.S. small business creators $1 billion in the first month. That is crazy.
At 1 billion in the first month.
In the first month. That's not it. That's not accounting for anything else that comes down the line.
My,
Now,
my
I
gosh.
am under the huge impression, and there has been rumors that somebody's going to come along and buy it. Right, the Shark Tank guy. I think it's Kevin O'Leary,
Kevin
Kevin
O'Leary?
whatever. I like. There's rumors that he's in talks to buy it. There's no way it's going away. I
Nope.
like people are spreading fear and mongering. Right, like I've seen so many people say TikTok's being banned. Where are we going to next? What are we doing? And people are saying go to Lemonade. Like Lemonade is owned by TikTok guys. You're in trouble anyway around. But I don't think it's going anywhere. I think somebody will step in last minute. They'll grab it. They'll buy it up. If for some reason it doesn't pass the Supreme Court and like they're whatever, it's not going anywhere. I agree.
Nope, it's not.
The hot take of it shutting down. I'm not taking that. I'm leaving it, saying it's definitely going to move on. It'll be a thing. Don't worry, guys. Just to make your money. Okay. Second one. This one was super intriguing to me. I don't know. I don't know if you saw this, but Mark Zuckerberg went on Facebook. Well, he's been all over social media, but he basically is backpedaling his rules and regulations, his policies on censorship. Like incredibly backtracking on these, right? Are you buying this? Are you taking or leaving it?
I will take it for 4 years.
Okay. Yes. 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 I think I'm in the same vein as you, right? He is definitely pandering right now to the popular, well, basically, right? Like Trump's coming up. He's got to do something. He's got to pivot to make sure that his business doesn't come under scrutiny, doesn't get shut down. He is definitely flip flopping big time,
Yep.
right? He wants to stay safe. He wants to make sure that he's in the good graces of the guy who's got the power for the next 4 years. I 100% agree. I think it's a 4 year stint, and then he's just gonna change with whatever is convenient for Facebook.
Yeah, and I think he looks at it where AI is going, and he has Meta. He's a big proponent in AI, and you have to put your money who's going to be feeding you. And if there's government contracts out there, whatever it might be, he doesn't want to be left behind.
Well, and what was interesting is he actually made a reference to I know he came under massive amounts of like scrutiny when he did this, but when Elon bought Twitter, right, changed it to
Hmm.
X, and he said, listen, this is going to a platform of free speech, right?" And everybody was all up in arms, and everybody said, "Twitter." Well, that's I hate that I still say that every again. X is going to die. It's going away. Nobody's going to be on there. And what's happened? It's absolutely thrived.
Yep.
Like if there's been a blip, nobody even noticed, right? And so Zuckerberg actually said, "Well, we saw what Elon did, and da 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 da," right? And it's like that's real convenient. Elon, who happens to be good buddies with President-elect Trump, yeah, it's just super convenient. I agree. I'm not. I'm not. It's not. Yeah, I'm not taking
Well,
it, or I am
well,
taking it.
he's
It's
even adapting his community notes the same way.
yeah. Yep. And so and I guess maybe kudos to him because as an entrepreneur, one thing that you want to do is be moderately quick to follow. So maybe this has been like happening in the background and they just made a timely announcement. But I don't know. It felt very, it was one of those things where I wondered if somebody was just off the camera, they're like, and like Zuckerberg's like, blink twice if you're in trouble. And he's like, okay. Like I really felt like he was being forced to say that the way he was like, and we're reversing our policy on. I'm like, whatever. And that's the beautiful thing about the internet. I can say whatever I want to say. You can come at me if you want to, and Zuck, you can shut me down if you want to. So far, I've made absolutely $0 off of anything, just sharing my opinion. So you can do whatever you want. But I don't know, whatever, right?
I mean, our free speech really is free because we haven't
That's
made a dime.
That's
So
right. That's right. And maybe that's what people are getting from it too. Maybe not even a dime's worth of information. So we're just two guys who are talking about business, right? But yeah, I agree. That one is like it'll be definitely relaxed for 4 years. We'll see what happens after that. Okay, agreed. Okay, next one. Goal setting for personal and business. Worth it? Are you taking it or leaving it?
oh yeah, worth it. I mean, you have to have something to work towards because if you don't, then what's the point of even, I don't know, getting out of bed? I
Yeah.
mean, I think whether we have personal goals or not, if we're going to work, our goal is still going to work, whether it is or not. And I think if you have something to look towards, it gives you more motivation to do something.
Yep, I agree. I'm a massive proponent of goal setting, and I will tell you that I have not always been that way. I actually coasted for a large part of my life, but my beautiful wife is super driven, super smart. And a handful of years ago, we just started setting some really nice goals, right? Things that we just wanted to do to improve our life in the beginning, right? And what that did is every subsequent year after that, as we look back, right, and like in our year in review, and we're like, hey, we accomplished a lot. Then it makes it so much easier to go and say, I'm going to set a little more aggressive goal, a little more aggressive goal, right? Until you're doing things like, hey, me and Jimmy are going to start a podcast, right? Now, what you guys don't know is Jimmy and I, we baked on this for forever. Like, I think I talked to Jimmy in like March of 2024, and we conveniently found reasons to keep pushing it, right? We're like, next week, we'll start next week, next week, next month, next month. And I think we launched our first one in September. And even then, we were somewhat haphazard about this. But I
Yep.
promised Jimmy when I talked to him, I said, we will do this in 2024. And sure enough, we did it. Are we perfect at it? No. And I think that's one thing that people, when they set their goals, when they set that, maybe they're setting intentions instead of goals. But I think people get so fixated on what happens if I miss it. Then I'm a failure. Then I fall into like a mindset of like, I'm worthless. I can't do these things. It's too hard. And I said this the other day in our Sunday school. I said, I am becoming, the older I get, I'm becoming obsessed with the concept of imperfect action, right? So a lot of my goals are built around like things that I want to do, that I want to accomplish. I put steps in place to get there, but then I also allow myself some grace to take imperfect action, to make some steps, to move forward. And maybe it's not as quick as I wanted it to. I genuinely thought by the end of last year, Jimmy, we would have been like 40 episodes deep into our podcast. And it just didn't work out that way. But we did it. We accomplished something. And so for me, I love the idea of imperfect action. Is there a particular way, Jimmy, in which you like to set your goals? Do you have a formal planning session? Do you have a, is it something you noodle on for a while? You're like, okay, I'm going to put pen to paper. What does that process look like for you?
Mine's not necessarily, pen to paper. I have more, I mean, there's some are, but my goals are growing throughout the year. I have my goals that my personal goals, like exercise, try getting more than 2 hours of sleep a night, whatever it might be. And but things are changing throughout the year. So, for example, last year had a goal to open. Well, my St. George office was a 2-year goal. In
Yeah.
2 years from now, because I had that goal, that came a little bit earlier. And since this practice has been growing more successful each year, mid-year, I was like, all right, let's start looking at Idaho. And so
Yeah.
my goals are constantly changing, but
Yeah.
they're but they're
I
also looking
really,
forward.
and I think that's a sign of somebody who is emotionally intelligent, right? There are certainly, and we talked to our daughter about this year. We said, set some goals that you're pretty confident you're going to hit, and do that in the beginning part
Yep.
of the phases, because what that does is that gives you a nice shot of dopamine to help you feel like you're accomplishing something, to give you that mentality of like, I mean, there's the books, right? Like make your bed. There's things like that, right? Those principles where every day you get up to do something so that you feel like you've accomplished something, right? You get a hit of dopamine, and if you did that one thing, it sets you up for success to do other things. And so I'm a huge proponent of saying, let's set a very short-term goal that we know is achievable,
Hmm.
and then let's set some more difficult ones down the road. So I've got, and I even broke mine up this year into like actual goals and then just things I want to accomplish, right? And so I've actually got kind of two qualifications. Now, some people may say that's ridiculous, and I actually have way too many goals. I have a podcast that is besides ours. If you're listening to ours, thank you. But if you want to listen to somebody who's been doing it for a long time and who talks really elegantly about how to set up your goals, and she has 7 questions that she asks that will help you set appropriate goals. And it's actually a podcast by Mel Robbins. I don't know, Jim, if you've listened to Mel Robbins, but she's
I
amazing.
haven't.
So she actually launched or dropped this episode on Christmas Day. It was 12/25. I wrote down the exact title of it. It is called How to Make Your Next Year the Best Year. Ask yourself these 7 questions. And it was very, very thoughtful, very mindful. She does an elegant job of talking about goal setting, how to achieve them, what to do, how to set yourself up for success. Because I do genuinely think there's people who are like, they've never dabbled in anything, like clothing, for example, right? They're like, I'm going to open up a shoe brand and I'm going to make $1 million, right? And then they get really discouraged because they're not only going as quick as they thought, but then they're not making $1 million. And so she talks really elegantly about how to set appropriate goals, how to give yourself some leeway, some grace, how to actually morph and change. I think, Jimmy, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think people frequently will set a goal and they feel like that goal is kind of set in stone. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's a really good guiding principle. I actually heard somebody say one time, I don't remember who it was, but they said that they set they don't set goals, they set objectives, right? They have an objective that they want to hit. And so it allows it to morph a little bit in their brain. So they're not stuck saying, oh, this was a sports, it was an athlete. And I think football player, I don't remember who it was, but that their goal might have been like, hey, I want to get 1,000 yards or whatever. But they realized over the course of the year that they couldn't control some of that because the coach wasn't calling the right, plays designed for them, whatever. So they had to change their objective a little bit. So they still felt successful. What are kind of your thoughts, Jimmy, on saying, yes, we both agree having goals is important, but what happens when you're not meeting those? How do you allow yourself some grace to say, hey, I haven't failed. I didn't get to where I thought I was going to get to.
Do you know what? It's funny that you said that because as you're saying that, I was thinking this would probably tie in. This might be our early mental health
Yeah.
moment. Um, but I look at it like playing a video game where, let's use Mario Brothers for an example. I think most people can relate to that. Where you're going along on level 1, you get killed by a turtle, and then you're like, ah, crap. You learned from that. And so you keep on going till you get to level 2. You get to level 2, you die. And you don't go back to level 1. You just go back to the beginning of level 2. And I think goal setting is a lot like that, where you're not gonna be 100%, and you look at it like, okay, what do I need to evaluate so I know not to hit that pitfall again? Like, what do I need to do so that turtle doesn't shoot a shell at me and kill me? And you learn from that, and so when you get to that hard part again, you know what you need to have in place.
Yeah, and I heard somebody say one time, and it's 100% accurate. When it comes to goal setting, you and like you said, Jimmy, like you're going to go along throughout the year, and you're going to be accomplishing things. And even if you don't hit that goal you were working for, you will not be the same person you were when you started the year.
Hmm.
You'll have learned, you'll have progressed, you will have made advancements. And sometimes what's really hard about that is it's very subtle. And so
Yep.
you're waiting for this big, massive change to happen. You're waiting to hit the $1 million thing. You're waiting to hit the whatever your goal is. And when you don't hit that, what you don't realize is, yeah, maybe your goal was to be, own a business that did 7 figures, $1 million. Maybe you didn't get that, but maybe you got to 750,000. Maybe it's 750, but the year before you were only at 500, right? So you still
Hmm.
saw an increase. You still saw some really cool things happen. And so, yeah, I'm a huge proponent of setting goals. I think everybody should do it both personally and professionally. And I think the other important part of this is to talk to people or talk to yourself when you're setting your goals as though you have already achieved them, right? And I think frequently people underestimate the power of manifestation in their life, right? And people
Yep.
will call that different for different things, manifestation,
The
positive mindset, whatever.
secret.
Yeah, the secret, whatever. They're going to call it something, whatever they want to call it. But there is a very real power that flows into your life when you start to say, I am doing this, I am this thing, right? I'm in marketing. I am a chief marketing officer, right? That's the next position that I would grab in wherever I go. And so it's if that's what I want to achieve in life, then I need to start talking to myself as though I'm a chief marketing officer, right? And I think that's definitely going to help the whole. I love that. Thanks. I love that's the way you talk to yourself when you set the goals, right? So, all right, we beat the goals to death, Jimmy. We're taking it with us in 2025. the next thing I want to talk about, number four. So we got two more guys, two more things that do we want to take or leave for 2024. Leave in 2024, take it with us in 2020, take it with us in 2025. This is a hot button topic now for a year or so, and it's AI. Jimmy, are we taking or leaving AI with us into 2025?
Oh, we're taking it.
Okay.
It, it I don't think we even seen the beginning of what AI is going to do. If you're in a business and you're not considering finding ways to lose to to use AI in your business, you're going to be out of business. That's how I feel. And so AI, it's like the assembly line. You better keep it. You better roll with the times because it's here to stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, I pulled some stats. Let me drop these on you and see if for some reason you were like, no, it's not a thing, right? Like it's not going to go anywhere. I was going to drop these on you, but I'm going to drop them on you anyway because I found them and they were fascinating. So here's the article was 10 AI stats you should know for 2025. It says number one, the global AI market is expected to grow annually by 37%, which is massive, right? That's huge growth. From 2024 to 2030, the AI market is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 28%. So we're seeing just obviously massive growth. New ones seem to be coming, new AIs seem to be coming out all of the time, new tools. Number three, it says the AI market size is estimated to reach $305.9 billion by the end of 2024. So I don't know if that happened. I'll have to look and see. AI is estimated to create 133 million new jobs by 2030. That's intriguing because I think people are so scared that AI is going to be replacing jobs. Jimmy, what's your take on that? Like it says it's actually going to be creating some new jobs.
Oh, I think it's going to be creating hundreds of thousands of jobs in the future. But kind of go back to the assembly line, or I should say was it the assembly line? Or I'm trying to think which one where they thought, okay, if this happens, we're all going to go out of business.
Yeah,
The refrigerator. You know what I mean? You bring out the refrigerator, then the people that were taking ice around to different homes, they had to find a new
yeah,
job. But we all adapted to it. And so, as in, is it going to take new jobs or jobs? Yes, it will, but I think we're going to adapt at the time also.
yeah, yeah. I think so. Let me keep going. It says by 2030, AI is projected to contribute over $15.7 trillion to the global economy. 15.7 trillion. I will give you one small example. I've already seen people begin to implement this. So there's a massive movement right now in the gig economy for people who will use AI completely. They'll like go create an image, in one of the AIs, pick your poison. Then they will go sell that sucker on like Etsy. People are making like doctors money every single month, if not more, selling like a PDF or an image that they made from like AI, change it just enough so they're not breaking copy or this, they're not worried about copyright, and then selling it on Canva, or sorry, creating it in Canva or an AI tool and then selling it on Etsy. Like I've seen multiple people like with receipts showing that they're making $25,000, $30,000 from like one print, and they will have multiple prints, right? So like absolutely fascinating. It says businesses will allocate up to 20% of their tech budget to AI, and 58% of companies will increase AI investments in 2025. Generative AI is the most popular AI technology, with 51% of companies using it for content creation, customer support, and process automation. That's insane. 50%. Just
Oh,
insane.
I think, and going back to some of those numbers, I think those numbers are I think we're going to hit those numbers well before 2030. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at today, there's a book, Ray Waltz or something. I'm trying to think what his name was. He was saying where AI is today. He wrote this book 10 years ago. Where AI is today, he thought would be in 2030.
Yeah.
And as you know, AI gets smarter and smarter and smarter. So, I mean, I use it. My end of year books, I just pulled up my Excel, I uploaded Chat GPT, and I said, hey, break this down to demographics for me because I want to know what age group I was getting the most in and which ones I need to market more
Yeah.
at. And, break it up to gender, break it up to, and within seconds, it took my job that normally would take me hours to do within minutes. I knew where it was at.
Yeah. Absolutely fascinating. Like it's like, oh, I just, it's a game changer, right? Like once you figure out, even if you just spend time this year to invest. Like if you're nervous about AI for some reason, I think one of the safest ones and one of the easiest ones to use is ChatGPT. They did such a marvelous job of launching on the scene, and making it super simple to use. But the more you use it, the better you are at asking it prompts. And the better
Yep.
you get at asking it prompts, the better information you're going to get back, and the easier it makes your job. Um, like honestly, I can't tell you how many people who their job is communications, right? PR, copywriting, whatever. They basically got really good at writing prompts. They do everything to write prompts, right? I'm helping people build websites right now, and I say for SEO purposes, plug it in, say this is a page I'm building. Write me, the SEO laden copy, and boom, it outputs it. It's like this is perfect, right? Like honestly, it makes things so much easier. This is really really cool.
Well, I
But
mean, to
yeah, AI will
go back
take
to the
over this.
beginning of TikTok, a lot of people are writing their scripts, their acting scripts off of AI.
Yeah. Yep, and I think what you'll see is people who it's going to be one of those things. There's going to be a gap, right? There's going to be a gap of the haves and the have-nots. And so like really, I would as a business professional, I would suggest you highly invest in AI for yourself. Learn how to use it. Don't get left behind because this is something that I do think Jimmy will start to create a bit of a gap, right? I do believe that the people who yes, it's great to have a degree. I think everybody should still get a college degree. That's actually not true. I think some people do really well without getting a college degree. But I think we would be absolutely foolish to ignore tools that make our life easier. My pops always
Yep.
said, man is a tool user, right? And this is nothing more than just a tool that will help your business. Matter of fact, I came across, I was going to say in your home life, like I came across a prompt last week that somebody shared on social media that literally will make your weekly menu for you. So I shared it with my wife and I said, babe, check this out. And she literally plugged in and said, make me a weekly menu with like 3 meals a day, focusing on high protein, low carbs, and like enter, and then like it just broke
Yep.
out the entire thing for us. And I was like, oh my gosh, basically custom meal plans for whatever you're doing, right? Like absolutely insane, so cool. Okay, this is actually the last one I think, Jimmy, that I want to touch on, unless you have another one. But the last thing that I want to know if you're going to take or leave in 2025 is gig economy. So things like DoorDash, Uber, all those types of services. Taking or leaving?
Oh, that's a hard one. Like that they're gonna be here, or they're what do you mean by take or
Yes,
leave?
it's still a viable way for people to make a side hustle.
Do you know what? I'm gonna leave it.
Okay, bold
Just
take. Why are
because
you leaving
I
it?
because I think oh my good I think I'll leave it just because so many people are gonna be doing it that it's gonna make it's gonna be oversaturate everything, which is not gonna bring in the income that they're hoping to
Okay.
get.
I'm glad you talked about income. Let me drop this on you because I did some research for you. In 2023, so it's a little bit older, but in 2023, Americans with this side hustle make an average of $810 a month. Okay. Uh, However, making a significant amount of money is rare. I can't read it. 28% of respondents say they only earn between $1 and $50 a month.
Jeez.
14% said they make between 50 and 100, while 6% said they make between 200 and 300. Now it says this: only 7% of people said they make between $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and 8% said they make more than $2,000 a month. Here's the thing that's fascinating, right? So yes, not great money. Some people, yes, if they hustle, maybe they're in the right area. I can't. I like. I we. I don't know. I'm on the fence with you too because I get the side hustle side of it. I get that people need a little extra money, and sometimes that can make a huge difference. At a certain point in time, I always look at the cost benefit analysis, right? I'm like, okay, I'm giving up a lot of time, and I don't know what it doesn't say how many hours they're working to get that $800. But if you back out your hourly rate, and you're like, oh my gosh, wear and tear on my car, all these different things. Like I don't think you're actually even clearing $800 by the time you factor in gas and you factor in insurance and car repairs and tires and whatever else. I don't think you're making it. But let me drop this on you. What group of people do you think is the most apt? Which generation, excuse me, to do side hustles? Which one do you think's out hustling the most?
I think our generation.
tell people
So
what generation we are.
yeah, I'm trying to think what generation are we?
I think I'm the tail end of X.
And so is that because how old are you?
Uh, I'm 40, almost 45.
All right, so we're on the six. I'm 45,
Yeah.
so
So we're tail end of X, but it says that let me read this. It says millennials make significantly more than other generations from their side hustles. According to Bankrate, millennials make an average of $1,000 a month compared to $753 for members of Gen Z and just $670 a month for Gen X.
what
So
age group's millennial again?
they are right after us. So I think they're generally classified as like 81 to like, I don't remember how far into the 90s it goes. 81 to like somewhere in the
Okay.
90s, I believe. And so millennials like to hustle in that arena, right? Which kind of makes sense. There's still going to be some younger, I think some younger, demographic people in there, right? Some stay-at-home moms, people looking to kind of work a dual income. I think that kind of makes sense. What else does it say? So Gen X makes the least amount of money doing this. Actually, boomers might make less. Let me see if it says. Oh yeah, boomers are likely to earn the least with an average of 646. So they're actually we're 670, and then boomers are 646. So they're not far behind. Um, yeah, there's a couple other stats, but we won't worry about those. But yeah, very very fascinating, right? And that makes sense because I think Gen X and below. So what's before us? Baby boomers, maybe Gen X, baby boomers,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think
Um, I, a lot of us came up without cell phones. We came up with just go to work, work hard, get a college degree. So I think a lot of us are still very much stuck in that mindset of like working. Not everybody, but I think I'm generalizing here. I think most of the time, Gen Xers and below are still very much like institutional based people, and haven't necessarily grasped the opportunity of side hustles. Certainly, some have. Right? I'm not saying. I'm just generalizing. So I'm not surprised that we make the least amount. I also think from a Gen Xer, like a Gen Xer perspective, like we don't give two farts, right? Like I think we're that generation where we probably have done a little better job of like saving. We don't necessarily live paycheck to paycheck. Again, generalizing here, but the millennials and the Gen Z, like not so much, right? Like I think the money comes in and the money goes out. I don't think they have a ton of savings, and certainly there are some people who probably do fine, right? I'm not surprised to see those analytics saying that's the trajectory of the what do you call it, the demographic of gig economy. So,
I
but yeah, I
I
agree. I think I leave it unless something really really hot comes along. I'm seeing the intriguing thing for me, and the one that I actually am a little bit high on, and mostly because of the dichotomy that I see in it. A lot of people are, like if you talk to somebody and say, "Hey, what do you do?" Very few people are going to say like they sell, right? I'm a salesman. Some people will own it, but I've been fascinated at how many people are making a living on TikTok doing social selling, right? So like it's almost to the point that I'm annoyed with TikTok about how many times I see things being sold on my freaking feed. But they've got the whole TikTok shop. You can be an affiliate. You can go out. You can make money doing that. People on TikTok claiming they actually make way more than what the data is suggesting. And so that one fascinates me a little bit. I do think that when we think of the gig economy, a lot of times we think of the Uber and the DoorDash and things like that. However, I would also classify the social selling aspect in there, like on TikTok, as kind of a gig economy, like an affiliate program. Um, and I think that's actually viable. I think we'll see more people do social selling. I think we're going to see more businesses turn towards social selling. I think they're just barely figuring out how to do it, right? And they're not only on TikTok, but there's a couple other apps where you'll see people go live, right? From a business perspective, they'll sell their T-shirts, they'll sell a variety of things, just right there live.
yeah, I mean you get followers, they'll do anything for that. I mean, there was a 5-year-old kid that made millions of dollars because he was opening up like gifts and people other younger kids would just watch him open up presents.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take you get an audience and you can make a lot of money.
Well, and what's crazy is there is an audience for everything, right? Like I'm surprised at how often, and Gary Vee talks about this. If you guys aren't following Gary Vee, you should go follow Gary Vee. That is like the OG of social media, and like he will do things that I just can't even fathom. He's like, we will turn on like a live stream and just let it run for 8 hours and let people watch us do business. I'm like, that is asinine. That's crazy. That like he's like, we're just gonna turn it on. Every now and again, he addresses the camera, says a couple things, and he goes back to like legitimately just working, right? And I just the way that people are using social media, and so I guess that part of it, yeah. When it comes to gig economy, take social media with you. It's not going anywhere. right? But I do think I agree, Jimmy. Like the Uber Eats, the DoorDash, not for me. Like I leave that one.
And I think it's just one of those ones people, yeah, I mean, it'll always be there, but I don't think it's going to be as big as it is. I think it's peaked for the most part.
Yeah, I do too. And I think one thing that people get, I will say there's a caveat in there that I think if you're at the leading edge of something, if you're the first to do a thing, right? Like I think when and if you're in the right city, right? Like Jimmy and I in Eagle Mountain, like Uber is just tough. Like we're in kind of a rural area, that we're not, I don't know, it's just there's not a huge demand for it. Most people have cars. Most people will drive like where I think our I was gonna say neighborhood, but our community is inherently kind of cheap. People are gonna drive to save a couple bucks to eat. They're not gonna order it in. And so I think you really have to, New York, California, yeah, maybe you'll do great, some of those highly populated areas, but I think you have to look at your surroundings and see if it works for you.
I agree.
Um, but yeah. Okay. That's it, Jimmy. That's what we're taking and leaving.
Taking it.
Taking it. Taking it. So Jimmy and I are going to continue to take podcasting in 2025. We're going to have some really, really cool guests. We've got some amazing opportunities lined up for people to learn about different, professions, careers, the ins, the outs of, Jimmy, we've got some, we've got not for profit. We have nonprofit people. We have people. I don't want to spoil it. We have people all across the board that we're going to be bringing on. It's going to be super awesome. Jimmy, I know you kind of mentioned briefly about a mental health moment earlier. Do you have another one you want to drop on us before we leave?
I guess to just go back to goal setting. I look at it when we go to the gym. How often do we get to the gym, the first of January and think it's only going to last, by March, April, this is all going to be died
Yeah.
out. And I was thinking about this the other day, instead of looking at it and thinking, man, look at all these people are trying to better their lives. And so with the goal setting is, do you know what? Just because March comes along and you're tired, keep on pushing through. You had a goal to begin at the beginning of the year. If you don't come to the gym for 3 weeks, that's okay. You can always start over, and that can go on any goal that you have.
Yep. I agree.
Unless it's paying your bills on time. Then if you go 3 weeks, you better hurry and catch
Yeah,
up.
then you're in trouble, right? But I 100% agree. And it's funny because I recently started going to the same gym as Jimmy. My gym changed a little bit for me at the beginning of the year, and I had to relocate. And I actually had the same thought because there definitely was. I was lamenting with Jimmy like, oh, what a tough time for me to have to change gyms because I had a relatively private gym that I got to go to for a while before they moved it. And it just so happened that the very first of the year is when they moved it. So I had to sign up for a big box gym. And I showed up that first Monday and I went to Jimmy. I'm like, this is crazy. By the way, Jimmy and I are there at 4 a.m. Like we work out super early to try to beat the crowds. And I said, this is crazy. And Jimmy's like, yeah, it's not normally like this. And sure enough, near the end, like today's what, Thursday? Like I'm already seeing a massive decline, right? However, I did have the same exact thought this week where I looked around and I said, you know what? The really cool thing is there are a whole bunch of people who have the same right to be here, that have the same right to work on their health and fitness and be the better version of themselves. Who am I to like get really mad because I have to wait a few extra minutes for a
Hmm.
machine? All these people have the right attitude, the right opportunity, and equal opportunity to like better themselves. And so I want people to think about that for just a minute. I'm going to lament. I'm just going to wax here for a second. I'm reading a book called The Four Agreements, which is really fascinating, but it helps shift your perspective on how things operate. And it's been very eye-opening for me and given me a second to pause and say, yeah, people actually deserve the same rights that I deserve. I'm no better than anybody else. Like I'm sure people looked around and said, I've never seen this guy at the gym before. What's he doing here? He won't be here in 10 days because International Quit Day, I believe, is a week from this Saturday, where most of the people give up on their goals, which is really sad. But everybody has that same exact right to be there. Everybody has the same exact right to work on themselves, and people should work on themselves.
Yep.
That's what makes us better people.
Yep, I completely agree. It's like I said, give a little grace because you were that first person showing up too.
Yep, 100%. All right, Jimmy, great episode. Glad we could be together for a few hours. Few hours. How long have we been going? Oh my gosh, an hour. So glad we could be together for an hour. It is definitely time for me to go to bed. When you get up at 3:30, it's time to go to bed at 8:30.
Hey, this morning I slept until 5, so we're good. I
Rebel,
I got energy.
all the energy in the world. All right, everybody. Thanks for being with us on the Open Source Entrepreneur. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys next week.